Picture this. You're doom scrolling through Instagram at 2 a.m. An influencer pops up, perfect lighting, flawless skin, and selling some detox teas. You double tap without thinking.
You switch to watch a blockbuster. The hero is strong, silent, and saves the day with his fist. The woman he's rescuing is brilliant, but also just waiting to be rescued.
We see this stuff every single day. This is so common that it's basically form a solid expectation. But here's the thing. Have you ever stopped mid-scroll and asked, why is it usually like this? Who decided this is how people should look and act?
Welcome back to Gender Talks, the spectrum of knowledge. I'm Zoom.
And I'm Tai. Today we are diving into one of the most powerful storytellers of our generation, the media.
And trust us, once you see what we're about to show you, you might never unsee it.
So let's talk about something that sounds academic but is actually everywhere in your life, the gaze. And no, this isn't about staring contests.
Definitely not. It's actually about power, specifically who gets the look and who just be there to be looked at.
Back in the 1970s, a film theorist named Laura Mulvey wrote this groundbreaking essay about the male gaze. Basically, she noticed that in mainstream movies, the camera acts like it's looking through the eyes of a straight man. And women, they are presented as eye candy, passive objects of desire.
Think about literally any action movie. The camera lingers on the woman's body, right? But when it shows the male hero, it's all about his power, action, and his story.
Exactly. But here's where it gets more complicated, and this is crucial. Mulvey's theories was important but incomplete. It's really only talk about white women's experiences.
Which is where bell hooks enters the chat. In her work, The Oppositional Gaze, she completely shifts the conversation. She points out that for black women, the film experience was totally different. They weren't just objectified most of the time, but were completely erased.
And when black women were on screen, they got put into racist stereotypes. One of them is the mammy figure or the caregiver who exists only to serve white families. Another one is angry black woman, who's everyone's supposed to hate. Hooks call it cinematic negation, like the screen was actively denying their humanity.
Okay, but here's the really powerful part. The oppositional in oppositional gaze. What does that mean?
It's an act of resistance. Hook talks about how, as a child, black children were often punished for staring directly at adults. Looking was seen as confrontational and challenging authorities. So, for oppressed group, the act of looking back becomes intimidating and rebellious.
So black women watching these films weren't just passive viewers absorbing these terrible images, they were critically analyzing them, refusing to identify with the racist and sexist portrayals. They were essentially saying, I see what you're doing and I'm not buying it.
And that critical gaze, that ability to watch media and question everything about it, is something all of us can learn. It's a good skill for breaking down media messages to see if there's anything wrong.
Which is really essential for us because later on these power dynamics didn't end with 20th century cinema. They've just found a new home. In fact, they are right in our pockets.
Let's bring this into our current world, the digital world with the internet and smartphone, and of course the platforms that allow us to communicate and spread information almost instantly.
And we're talking about social media. Specifically, let's look at this interesting 2022 study from RMIT about gender norms on Facebook in Vietnam.
What did they find?
They analyzed how groups of words appear together in posts, and the result shows that the word beautiful or đẹp in Vietnamese appear with the words for women or girls way more often than with men or boys.
Of course it did.
It only gets clearer. Words like cooking and caring were overwhelmingly associated with women. Meanwhile, men were described as the pillar of the home and the economic breadwinner. So even in 2022, on this massive digital platform, the message is crystal clear. Women should be beautiful and domestic, while men should be providers and protectors.
If we took people in the early 20th centuries and gave them a Facebook account, it's likely that the same would happen.
I do think so, and here's the catch. When people, especially young women, post content that challenges these norms, the backlash is intense.
What kind of backlash are we talking about?
They get called selfish, ungrateful, or westernized, like wanting equality is somehow going against Vietnamese culture.
And who's attacking them?
Often men who feel threatened, also even older and more privileged women who see these new ideas as threatening traditional family values.
So you are getting attacked by strangers online and getting questioned by your own relatives at family dinners. That's a powerful force pushing people to just stay silent.
Which is exactly what this system of belief need. Science maintains the status quo.
But then, silence isn't the only option. The same platforms amplifying old norms are also being weaponized to fight back, which brings us to the world of pop music.
Pop music?
Yes, the body in pop music has always been a battleground. For decades, we have pop princesses whose body were packaged and sold. Think Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera, whose sexuality was controlled, commodified, and sold back to us.
But recently, like in the past few years, we have seen the rise of somewhat called pop feminism. This is where mainstream artists with massive platforms use their reach to explicitly challenge the gender norms.
Take Taylor Swift 2020's video for the man. She literally dresses up as a man to show the double standards she faced. The lyrics, I'm so sick of running as fast as I can, wondering if I get there quicker if I was a man, is a direct critique of sexism in the industry.
Oh, I remember the video. There's this scene where male Taylor is in the park with a little girl and everyone's falling over themselves to praise him. The sign says, the world greatest dad. Meanwhile, the other mothers doing this every single day and get zero recognition.
Or look at Miley Cyrus' 2019's video for Mother's Daughter. This is basically an oppositional gaze in music video form. Slogans everywhere. My body, my rules. Virginity is a social construct.
And it's not just slogans. She's featured plus size women, disabled people, transgender individuals' bodies that are normally invisible in mainstream media. She's using her massive platform to fight fat shaming and transphobia head on.
Now, some critics dismiss it as feminism light or argue that it's just capitalism repackaging activism to sell albums.
Which is a valid critique. But here's the flip side. This pop feminism reaches millions of people who would never pick up a gender studies article or research. It's taking these conversations out of the classroom and putting them on Spotify, TikTok, everywhere.
It's meeting people where they are. And for a lot of young fans, this might be their first exposure to feminist ideas. That's not nothing.
Exactly. It's reclaiming the gaze by taking advantage of mainstream influence and using it to fight back.
So let's bring this full circle. Our goal with this podcast has always been about building knowledge that helps us create a better, more inclusive community.
And today's episode really drives that home. Media isn't just entertainment we passively consume. It's a system of knowledge and power that literally shapes how we see ourselves and each other.
When we learn to question what we see, whether it's a Netflix show, a Facebook post, or a music video, we stop being passive consumer. We become critical viewers. We start spotting the stereotypes, the eraser, the double standards.
And that's how we build inclusive communities. We become better friends, better allies. We can recognize when the harm is being done, and we can choose to support the media that challenges old restrictive norms instead of just recycling them.
So next time you are scrolling or watching, just pause for a second. Ask yourself some questions.
It can be like who's might be missing, whose story aren't being told, who holds the power here, who's looking and who's just being looked at.
And can't forget to ask, is this challenging a stereotype or just reinforcing one? By asking this question, you are taking a more critical viewpoint. You're activating your own compositional gaze.
And once you start seeing it, you might never look at things like you used to, in a good way. Welcome to the other side.
That's all for episode 4 of Gender Talks, the spectrum of knowledge. Until next time, keep questioning what you see.
And keep looking back.